All right. In the previous video, we saw what the banking industry is. Now we will focus more on the financial services and insurance and what exactly are the different entities in that, right? So just give me a minute. I will bring up my marker here. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about the financial services and insurance. As you can see from the end-to-end spectrum that we're looking at, it's quite huge, right? And it will be really impossible to cover all of that in one go. But let me try to give you some examples of at least some of the major ones, right? So let's begin on the extreme left-hand side, and let's look into the credit unions and non-banking corporation, right? So some of you may have already heard about the credit unions, right? So credit unions are nothing but, as the name suggests, they are union for a similar group of people, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say there is a union which only serves the US defense personnel, right? So if you happen to be working in Army, Navy, or Air Force, there is a union for you to be doing the banking and pretty much getting all the products and services that we talked about earlier in the first video, right? Similarly, there could be a union for one particular company or the employees of one particular company. So when I was working in Texas, Dallas, I had one such union, Texan, which actually originated as a union only for Texas Instruments employees, right? And then later on, it expanded into other, audiences and other type of customers as well. But that's where basically it originated, right? Similarly, you can have a credit union which only serves a particular geography, or maybe particular city or a particular MSA, in terms of the zip code and all of that, right? So that's basically the credit union, right? Non-banking financial corporations, they are very, very common because bank cannot really address the needs and wants of all the different types of customers. So these are basically the go-to option for a wide section of people who may not be served by the regular banking channel, right? And there are a wide variety of examples on the NBFCs as well. Now let's focus our attention on the investment and brokerage, right? So what these guys do is basically they provide the investment advisory, they provide the guidance, they provide the investment services, and anything to do with basically wealth management and getting higher returns on your money, right? Some of the big names in the industry, some of the original players who were only the investment banks like Goldman Sachs, right? So they actually started as the investment banks only, and then because of the financial crisis they were mandated to have a regular banking license as well, right? There are other big entities like Credit Suisse, for example. That's another big investment bank, and brokerage as well, right? So that is another one. um, JP Morgan Chase is one other such entity where they are predominantly focused on the investment and brokerage. Originally, now they are just like any other bank after the merger of many, many different other smaller banks. And during the financial crisis, they actually bought some of the bigger entities as well, right? So that's how they actually turn out to be now investment bank and the regular banks. Internet banks are the banks which are pretty much doing everything that a regular brick and mortar bank would be doing, but they are predominantly focused on the online channel, right? And the reason why they focus on the online channel is that they can keep their OPEX or the operating expenses low, and they can pass on the benefits to the customer, right? And how do they pass on the benefits to the customer? It's basically in terms of the higher interest rate, lower fees, more frequent check-ins to your accounts and stuff like that, right? So they provide miscellaneous services to account for not being physically present in customers' life, but purely focused on online or predominantly focused on online channel, right? Payment, as we all know, is a huge industry right now, and doesn't matter what part of the world you are living in, you will obviously be familiar with some of the big payment players, and their main task is to basically facilitate easier payment. So if person A has to pay person B, how can we make this entire process a lot efficient and a lot cheaper and a lot faster and in real time, right? So that's the focus of the payment bank. Some of the big names in this in the industry, obviously, who can say that I don't know PayPal. PayPal is one of such entity. We have other players like Stripe, right? We have Square, and for folks who are from India, you will obviously know Paytm, right? So these are the different players that we have in the market. I'm just giving you few examples of that. Obviously, this is just very very indicative list, and there are hundreds, if not more, players already in different parts of the world trying to bring in the efficiency in the payment industry, right? Okay, let's move on to the mortgage. Mortgage, some people may not be familiar with the term mortgage. This is nothing but home loan, right? And this is a huge industry by itself. And within the mortgage, we have big names, and pretty much all the big banks are also there in the mortgage industry as well. But some of the entities in the world predominantly focus on mortgage only. They are not necessarily doing anything else except mortgage, or their main business is going to be mortgage, right? Some of the examples of those entities are Fannie Mae. This is again based out of US, and we have another one which is Freddie Mac, right? And their main objective is to really make this entire home loan mortgages accessible to the wide audience and make sure that they are able to provide for the citizens in terms of their housing needs, right? So that's about the mortgage industry. Insurance, I'm sure everybody knows about that because it touches your life in one way or another, right? And within the insurance, we have a variety of different insurance, like life insurance, motor insurance, or car insurance, or two-wheeler insurance. We have the health insurance. All of those things are covered in the insurance industry. Again, some of the big names in the industry are AXA, and they have tie-up with a lot of different players throughout the world. Prudential, right? We have United Health Group, UHG. This is for the health insurance, and obviously one of the big companies in India is Life Insurance Corporation of India, LIC, right? All of them, they actually provide the insurance in order to meet a sudden need for you to have a large amount of cash in case if you happen to be involved in an accident, or you need to get hospitalized and you need to have a medical bill taken care of, right? So all those are being covered by the insurance industry. And then there is, like, I mean, entire spectrum of activities which I really cannot cover in this short video. But the point is that the financial services and the insurance industry is much wider than this, right? Okay, so let's keep going. So here is a task for you. I mean, so far, I have given you a view of, what are the different types of companies within the BFSI. I would require you guys to spend some time in order to really maximize the learning. What you should do, and I have carefully chosen this list and a bunch of players here. So we have Chase, which is obviously a big bank. We have Credit Karma, which is a financial services company. We have Bank of China, and the list goes on and on, right? So I would request you guys to at least spend 5 minutes on each of these providers. So again, 5 minutes in each of these providers, and just go through their website, their URL that I've mentioned over here, and try to find what are the different products and services that they are using, right? Or they're offering to their customer, and who are their customers, how are they trying to serve it, right? Because once you start to explore these pages on your own, you will get a very good perspective of what the BFSI industry is all about. So let's do that, and let's come back and see what you have learned from that. Thank you.